Welcome to Boss Up Babes, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Carissa Adkins. Carissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle, here to help mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and inspiring massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What up? What up? Welcome to another awesome episode of Boss Up Babes. We are a weekly show dedicated to all of you entrepreneurs, innovators, hustlers, personal development junkies, and of course, badass women who are just looking to show up, boss up, and thrive in life. As usual, I'm going to ask you to grab a pen and paper because today we are talking all about what an alpha woman looks like, what a strong woman looks like, we're just having a fantastic conversation with an amazing woman today. I'm going to bring her on here in just a little bit. But first, my normal mini life update for you guys. So I literally just got back from spending 5 days in an all-inclusive Mexico resort. It was phenomenal. I went there with my husband because he's getting ready to ship off. You guys know, if you've been following me, he's active duty military and he's getting ready to ship off for a year. So we've been planning lots of intentional vacations because, you know, it's going to be a lonely road for like 12 months. And so, yeah, a lot of vacations, a lot of downtime, a lot of quality time. And I just really, really appreciate the fact that I have a teammate and a partner that loves to explore. He had never been to Mexico. I've been there a few times. And I've loved it it's quick and easy. It's 2 hours away from me. But I got to do so many different things with him. So we're kind of we're a newer couple. You guys all know we're a COVID couple, got married a couple years ago. And so we haven't gotten to do all of the traditional things that a lot of couples do prior to even getting married. Like we had an amazing dance on a rooftop bar, which was phenomenal. It was just so cool to have like a private couples only, dance and dinner. It was just really cool. Some other highlights that we were able to do was snorkeled for the first time, which was awesome. I'm not a fish fan, so he thought it was kind of funny to watch my facial expressions as the bigger fish would come toward me, and I'm like, go away, and he's like laughing. I can hear it. So that was a really great time, but just, overall, just chill space. And what I really learned from this trip is I really freaking love what I do. And you guys all know that, but like, I love helping women boss up to the next level of greatness. And how I really realized this was last night, we shut our phones off. We didn't really do anything. I didn't work. My clients even knew that I was fully checked out on this vacay. And, but I realized like on day 4 and 5, I was like starting to get that entrepreneur itch. Like, oh, I really want to check in with my clients. I wonder how they're doing. So-and-so's on a cleanse. Like, I just couldn't stop. Like, I had to remind myself to stay in the moment. I even wore my watch that said, now is the time, like just stay in the moment. So I really struggle with that, but I was like, Chris, it's a good thing because I care so much about what I get to do every single day. The opposite is true. Like, yes, he loves what he does. Yes, he loves serving our country. Like, he's all boy. He's all like, give me my guns and let me go like fight terrorists. However, when we got back today, it was like, I don't want to go back to work, where I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, oh, I get to go to work today. I have a podcast interview today. I have this, I have that. And it was just, I got reminded that I really love what I do. I'm in full alignment. I feel so, so good with where my life's going, where my business is going, where my relationships are going. And so, yeah, there's the mini life update for you. So enough of Mexico trip. I want to get straight into introducing and bringing on my amazing guest, Karen. So Karen is an executive coach who works with executives, founders, professionals, and entrepreneurs around the world who are looking for trusted advisor and resource to ensure they are working at their sustainable best. I love that. First off, you all know I'm a huge fan of like sustainable health, sustainable growth. So I love that. Karen's firm, Parachute Executive Coaching, was one of the first coaching companies able to provide executive coaching on a global scale. Her latest book is The Accidental Alpha Woman, which I love, by the way. It's the guide to thriving when life feels overwhelming. So executive coach, coaching company founder, single mother of 2 adult men, and just back from spending a month in Paris, test driving her dream life. Love that. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, girl. Oh my gosh. I remember our very first one-to-one, and we network with so many women, and I was like, I need to have you on my show. You are such a badass. And I love the book cover. Like, I'm like, I got to order it. I think it's still in my cart. So I need to go back and do that. But yeah, welcome to the show. You are a boss up babe, in my opinion, totally. So I do have just some questions to kind of kick us off. I find that every woman, especially my listening audience, sometimes they feel that they're the only ones struggling. They're the only ones feeling overwhelmed. They're the only ones going through certain life situations that are keeping them stuck. But I constantly remind them, I'm like, girl, we all have a story. We all come from a place of something. And we can either choose to show up and boss up and thrive, or we can choose to stay stuck. So I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your own personal story on how you became like baby Karen all the way up to badass executive coach.
Well, first up, on the idea that women feel alone, I had 2 of those conversations this morning already.
Isn't that crazy?
With senior level women who are really struggling and who haven't shared it with anybody. I mean, their partners hardly know how much they're struggling, alone their bosses or their teams or whatever. So, I think we all have to just trust each other more and share more and commiserate more, because it's there for all of us in one form or another. And your story and my story are different, but a lot of the feelings are the same. And a lot of the outcome of those feelings is the same. So anyway, I think about, if you take baby Karen to today, I feel like nobody who knew me back then would have imagined that I might be doing what I'm doing at the level I'm doing it. And I mean, I couldn't have even imagined that. So, I can think to inflection points along the way, but as with so many of us, a lot of my strength was forged from adversity. So my family didn't have a ton of money growing up. I had to earn my way. If I wanted the cool clothes in high school, I had to have a part-time job and, pay for those things. And I was at the beginning of second year university when my father died. And that meant that the family financial situation changed overnight.
Yeah.
And I had to go in, I was working in the bar at school. I had already got, cause the part-time job was just sort of part of my DNA by this point. Right. So, I gotta have a job. And so I had been working as a server and a cashier in the student pub on campus. And when my father passed away, and it became crystal clear that there was just suddenly no money for school, and I applied for student loans, but they weren't going to show up tomorrow. Right. And I went into my boss in the pub and I said, I need to, double my hours here, or I'm going to have to drop out or go part-time. And he opened up the schedule and said, pick your shifts.
Yes.
Like as many as you want. So I worked my butt off through university and paid my way and didn't have to drop out and didn't, so, but you dig deep when you have to, right? Yes. This is what we learn how to do. And some of us learn it pretty early.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I remember the first time I had to rally, right? Dig deep. I was 15 and pregnant, and reality check came real fast of wow, I need a job. I'm going to live on my own. I have a kid. I have school. I grew up very fast in a matter of 9 months. Did I feel that? And you're right. It's in my DNA. It's just, I've always worked. I can remember when I was stationed in Germany, the very first time I didn't work, and I actually went a little crazy. I've been working since 15, and I was like, you want me to be a stay-at-home mom? I don't even know what this life feels like or looks like. But
yeah, I'm only in that moment now. So my kids are now 22, 24, and the youngest one went away to school at September 2019. And so that was supposed to be my entry into living life, without kids. And then of course, so it's only in the last few months that I've actually started to get a real sense of, oh, wait, I can take some time and not have to take care of anybody and not worry so much about money. And, I've been living a long time. It's so,
I love it.
We learn these new things all the time, right?
So how do you think women like you and I were kind of we were kind of forced into it really quick. and I would call that strong women. Like, we are strong women. We are resilient. We bounce in, we get in, we have grit, we have determination, we get shit done, which I find is like very alpha tendency. Like, I like to say that, but like some women, like, how can women find they're strong? Or you like to even think strong isn't necessarily the trait we want to be known for. I want to dive into that. I remember us having a conversation about that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because I've always admired my strength and like put that sucker on my resume. I'm like, I am strong, but yeah, let's talk about that. Let's dive right into that.
Yeah, like I just think strong has gotten misunderstood and overused. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I'm a strong woman and I'm really, really proud of that. But I was also described at one point as independent to a fault. And there's the thing, right? So if I can be strong and still ask for help, I think for me, that's real strength. And people like Brene Brown talk a lot about that. Like the flip side of courage is vulnerability.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I can go forward and tackle whatever it is I have to handle. And I'm really proud of my ability to do that and my success in doing that. Yeah. But where I'll really get myself into trouble is if I think I have to do it all by myself. That's not strong. That's just kind of stupid.
Right.
Right. Because it's using resources I don't have to use. Like if I can get some help from some people, then maybe I can save some of my strength and not deplete the tank all the time.
Right. Like, so like, where did you figure out that life lesson? Because that was obviously learned somewhere. Like, oh, I better ask for help in order to reach the next level. Where do you remember a specific time in your life where you had that oh moment?
Honestly, it's mostly hindsight. It really is. And I mean, in the book, I tell a couple of stories, but my favorite one. So, all this to say, despite what I do for a living, despite being in the personal development and self-awareness business, what is it? Physician, heal thyself. We teach what we most need to learn, right? It's like, apparently I didn't figure a lot of this stuff out until way later than I might have. But one of my favorite stories in the book, I was getting ready to move house. And this was, an attempt to solve some financial problems and some logistics situations with the boys and make our lives just a little bit easier. And I was mid-tornado trying to pack up this house of stuff. And my neighbor came over and knocked on the door. And she said, I'm here to help you pack. I'm good at kitchens. And my first instinct, not a word of a lie, my first instinct was, oh, I can't let you in here. You're going to see how messy and disorganized it is. And by the way, it'll probably be more trouble because I'll probably have to give you lots of instructions. And she stood there. And this woman happens to be an elementary school teacher, right? So something about like how strong they can be when they need to be. And she just looked at me and she said, are you going to let me in? And thankfully I did, because 3 hours later my whole kitchen is packed. She'd done it beautifully, and I almost said no. And it was a huge relief and a huge help, and I was so grateful. And I mean, this was probably 8 or 10 years ago now, and clearly it resonated because I'm still so appreciative and so grateful, and it's still a fantastic story of how I still can get in my own way. In spite of teaching this stuff and writing a book about it and all of that, right? So, we're not perfect.
So what do you think makes, like, to the core, like, what do you think, why do women, because men, I honestly, I worked with 27 men for 8 years in the collision business. They had absolutely no problem asking for help. They're like, hey bro, can you like hand me that? Can you help me with this? Let's get this. Like, they took this team approach to everything, right? But why do you think, where does this trait come from, where women think we have to do it all? We have to wear the Wonder Woman cape and be the wife and the mom and the entrepreneur and all this. Like, why do you think we have such a problem with this?
Well, I think, so I'm no anthropologist, so, I would love to really pick that one apart. But my guess is that in part, as we've taken on more, so we are now more comfortable in more roles. It used to be like my grandmother, my 83-year-old grandmother at one point said to me, she said, oh, you have so many choices. You can do so many things. And then she stopped and she said, I wouldn't trade places with you for all the tea in China. Your life's too complicated. But I think, like, we're used to nurturing and taking care of on the home front. And I think we haven't adjusted those behaviors while we've gone out into the world and taken on other things. And in fact, I don't think the world has adjusted either.
Right.
And I think we could probably help the world adjust a little bit by pointing things out, saying, oh no, actually that doesn't work for me. Or no, I can't fit into that structure or that schedule or that whatever. But instead, And there's a great article that was published a few months ago in the Harvard Business Review about imposter syndrome, which is something women claim a lot. And the hypothesis in this article was that it's not that women can't handle things, and it's not that they're going to be found out for not being good. It's that the structures that we're trying to fit into weren't designed for us to fit into them. The traditional corporate structures, and the way, like even the schedule of organizations and the expectations and all of that. So, and I think deep in our heart of hearts, for the most part, we're just wired to not want to disappoint anybody and let anybody down.
Right.
So, and then of course there's it'll just be quicker if I do it myself, which
I'm really good with that one.
I know, me too.
Like
right?
Mom, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I learned that lesson. My business was able to finally shift and go from like struggling, surviving in business, right? Making just enough to get by. And it's one of my secrets when I'm interviewed on all these things now that I have a 6-figure business. Like, they're like, what's the difference? And I'm like, I started hiring out people to help me. Because I was like, man, I don't like bookkeeping. Let me, outsource that. I love marketing, but because that's, another background that I have, but I really had to realize, Carissa, you're really good at coaching. You're really good at speaking. You're really good, like all that stuff that VAs can't do and assistants can't do. So I'm like, let them do my marketing. So, it's tough. It really is tough. Like I even realized this in my kitchen. So my husband was home this last summer because his son was visiting us, and he like literally would pop his head in my door all the time. And he's like, hey babe, how long are you working for? Hey babe, are you on a coaching call? Hey babe. And I was like, oh my gosh, go find a hobby. Cause he'd never, he's not worked for so long. So he found cooking as a hobby.
Oh, great.
And I love this. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I love this. Right. After 2 weeks of him cooking every meal, food prepping, everything, I was like, that's my role though. Like, don't take it away from me. Like, I almost felt a little bit defensive. I was like, well, I want to cook too. And he's like, babe, I got you. And I had to learn to let that go. And now, he's like a cooking machine. I bought him a grill. I was like, here, have at it.
Oh, great. Oh, are you kidding? Well,
So
I mean, there's a friend of mine who really illustrated this point for me. And I think we all have to make choices based on what we really get joy from. And right. Because I know women who like cleaning their house because they really find a source of pride. And I'm like, great, you do you, right? That's so not me, but if it's you, bless you, go do that thing. One friend of mine who married a guy with some kids, and, they had the kids were in school and all that sort of thing. And my friend outsourced transportation. She got her kids carpooled or bused or something to and from school. And all the mummies around the neighborhood were like, oh my God, what are you doing? how can you do that? And she just said, but it's just transportation. I know that I'm better if I am if I'm spending a little more time on my business, I can be more present with them. So, I think we all just have to make choices based on what our personal value system says.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. It's hard for us, I think, as women to kind of let go of some of those roles and those titles. But we had that one-to-one, and you're like, the key to unlocking that abundance and happiness is to be able to receive and let it in and let people help you. So such a beautiful thing. Karen, where can people, you talked about the book, The Accidental Alpha Woman. Tell me a little bit about, first off, where can people find you? What's the best place? And then let's talk about the book.
Yeah. So, I'm most active on LinkedIn just simply because my business is really, really corporate. And so if you just look on LinkedIn for Karen Wright Coach, I'm there. And that's my personal Instagram as well, as Karen Wright Coach. So I try to make it easy for people to find me. There's also an Instagram for the Accidental Alpha, or I think it's just Accidental Alpha Woman without the V in front of it. So there's that as well. Awesome. And the book's on Amazon everywhere in the world.
Awesome. I will, you guys, as you know, I'll put that in the show notes. So you'll be able to find the link straight to the book, the link to our website. But tell us a little bit, because we haven't really dived into executive coaching, for amazing women or men, who specifically do you work with and how do you help them?
So I have a team of coaches. There are 15 or 16 of them, I think, as diverse as possible, straight, male, female, young, old, white, black, brown, so we really try and have a diverse team. So people can find someone that they can relate to. And most of our work is corporately funded or organizationally fed, so usually by the business where the person works or the business that the person's leading, because we're really helping leaders. See, I think our work is I like to say sometimes we're building better bosses. We're turning managers into leaders. We're helping leaders who are struggling with, crazy things these days. We're helping those leaders thrive themselves personally, and then enable their organizations to thrive, to help their people thrive. Because really, at the end of the day, no enterprise is successful unless the people are happy and healthy.
Right. Right. And that starts, you guys, from that top person, that leader,
right. Whoever that is.
Yes. Whoever it is. I remember I remember one of my corporate jobs, and really I had one amazing boss who was a fantastic leader. And then the shift kind of came in, and he retired and the new one came in, and things almost fell apart, but I kind of stepped up into that leadership role, which was devastating for him, honestly, because he was like, when I left you, right, he was like, you're the glue, you're the one keeping us together. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I've got to go. I'm no longer I can no longer lead your pack. You've got to kind of step up and do that. But what I saw, you guys, is the shift shook the boat, and everyone started everyone's like, oh, I think I could get away with this, or the culture started to shift. And I was like, no, we have to lock this in, and it starts with leadership, and it really does. And so I love what you're doing. And I remember when we were having our conversation before, I'm like, you need to get a contract with the military, because our leadership, our military, those high ups, they definitely need coaches. They need mentorship, because they are impacting thousands and thousands. And those thousands of active duties are, they have families that are now being impacted because of poor leadership. So I'm always like, hey, go after the big guys and just go straight for all the military leaders.
But every corporate leader has got a ripple like that too, right? Yes. So, I mean, I think it's fair to say that it's just time for a big culture shift in all organizations everywhere. And if me and my team can be part of that, then great. If we can create a little ripple effect, then, I'm good with that.
So I'm curious, where did the whole accidental alpha woman come from? Where did this idea come from?
I mean, I'm such a word nerd, so a little alliteration goes a long way.
Yeah.
But it was just an idea that I started talking about a long time ago when I felt myself in this situation. So the premise of the accidental alpha is that it's a woman who suddenly finds themselves shouldering the whole load when that wasn't the deal, when that wasn't what they signed up for. In my case, in the matter of a heartbeat, I was carrying the whole financial load for a family of 4 with a mortgage and 2 kids in private school. That was not the deal. But suddenly it was all on my shoulders. And there are a bunch of accidental alphas in the book who it happens for different reasons. Like I had a friend whose husband committed suicide, another friend who's never found a partner and never imagined that would be her life. So, it can happen for different reasons, but that's the idea. That's where the tension is. It's in that unexpected piece. And so what I tried to do in the book is give women tools to recognize when they maybe haven't accepted a change as being something they now need to actually base their life on.
Yes. So without giving away, obviously, and there's probably tons and tons of strategies and tips and ways to help these women kind of transition. But what would be your biggest tip for women who are in this place and they're like, oh my gosh, what just happened? My life is what? And what was the biggest tip?
I know. Well, the whole book is based on a framework that uses the letters from the receive, because I know for myself, if I had just figured out how to receive offers, gifts, help, intuitive messages from the universe, or if I had learned how to accept offers coming from elsewhere way before I did, I think I might not have struggled quite so much.
And what is the most surprising thing about this receive framework?
Well, the one that women seem to react with kind of curiosity and tentativeness, but a little excitement and joy, is the one about finding your voice. It's about figuring out how you are outside of the context of who you're helping and who you're caring for. Because too often we take on so many caregiving roles that we lose sight of, who am I? And the best story in the book is a story of a woman who discovered pole dancing.
Oh,
right.
Love it.
It started out as being a fun little activity, and she's gone on to be a master level competitor and teacher.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I've actually, so not in this little town that I'm in now, but I do want to take one of those classes because my clients will take it and they send me videos. They're like, Chris, I was finally, because, I'm in like helping women get healthy and fit and mentally, physically, emotionally. And like, these are things that like breaks through confidence barriers, like pole dancing. They're like, who am I to do this? I'm not sexy. Like all of these crappy limiting beliefs inside their head. And they send me these videos. I'm like, I want to try. I cannot wait to do that.
This woman teaches on Instagram. Her beginner pole dancing, I think, is her Instagram. Her name's Jane Wilson, and you can get a pole set up in your house.
Oh, okay. So does she sell the poles? Just kidding. Time for another, another topic for another conversation.
Totally.
That would be so cool. But I see it. It's so cool. I love the confidence piece that it builds in my clients.
Absolutely. And body positivity, right? It's so good.
Yes. They're like, I know they always say, I know it's not much. I'm like, no. Don't downplay what you think is a lot. I was like, what you just did is actually really difficult. Like, as a gymnast, as someone who's an athlete and fit, I'm like, no. Don't downplay your amazing, beautiful success. So I love it. You guys go out and get your copy of the Accidental Alpha. I cannot wait to get hands on mine. I'm like 2 books in and then I'm ready. Like it's probably in my cart because it's on a Christmas list. It's probably why I haven't bought it. I have a tendency to like buy books like all the time. And then my husband's like, babe, I need gifts. And I'm like, I just buy as I need them and want them. But anyways, I'm just going to go hit send and then he can find me some other books because I really, really want this now. Karen, thank you so much for being such a beautiful guest on our show. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, for me too. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. And you guys, I know you're listening. If you found today's information and topics super fun, go out and get your hands on the Accidental Alpha. Go check out Karen's website. If you're in that executive powerhouse, position and you are looking to just level up in your life. I know it's so hard to do sometimes, but this could be just the very best thing that you needed in order for you to boss up to that next level. Let her teach you and guide you on how to do life a little bit easier because you don't have to do it alone. With that, I'm a high performance habit change coach helping women boss up and thrive with their health, their mindset, and their business coaching. If you are tired of playing small and you're meant for more, go ahead and book that free 15-minute boss up clarity call with me. And I only work with women who are alphas, who are ready to take action and boss up to the next level of greatness. So if that's you, we will talk soon and join me next week for another fantastic episode of Boss Up Babes. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you for listening to Boss Up Babes with Carissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Carissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.